Hello, and welcome to this presentation of HPE Verity, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise's latest SaaS solution addressing information governance and management needs for the enterprise. With a unified set of application and services, HPE Verity's single source of truth solution enables IT, compliance, legal, and risk management professionals to attain an unprecedented level of visibility and control over the enterprise data. The reality in today's enterprise is that data is everywhere in a wide variety of data sources and a wide variety of formats. And Verity assists the organizations with identifying, accessing, understanding, and managing this valuable information. First, Verity provides a great range of data access capabilities. Traditional types of repositories, such as file systems, mail servers, Office 365 email support, Skype for Business, SharePoint. On top of this, with Connected MX, data can be protected on the edge, such as mobile devices or laptops. With Storage Optimizer, the IT organization is empowered through file analysis to identify redundant, obsolete, or trivial data. Legacy data from mergers and acquisitions on file shares is considered dark data, information that we have little understanding or control over. And this data, again, needs to be comprehended to its fullest. Documents such as contracts, binding agreements, invoices can become a liability to the organization. In addition to this, it's worth highlighting how easy it is to bring additional data inside of the Verity Information Archive through its set of data handlers. It only takes a few clicks, for example, to create a new journaling repositories to access data from Office 365. And Verity takes all of the complexity away from this process. Security, routing, and scaling the applications in order to sustain the workloads. So something that used to take for an IT organization along the lines of days or sometimes weeks can be done in a matter of minutes. To get additional insights over this information, Verity provides a rich set of data processing capabilities, text extraction over hundreds of documents formats, OCRing of image data, and transcription of audio from audio and video files in order to extract content and further manage it. However, it is not just about extracting information and data out of various documents. Not all documents are created equal, and some documents require richer processing than others. And to this point, Verity assists the organization by providing an extremely flexible, policy-driven set of workflows that fits the business's needs. A new rule can be provided in order to define how data should be treated, because not every single document need, for example, to be OCR. This information can be extracted when needed. Events such as a litigation, for example, may trigger the requirements to additionally further enrich the data that has been previously stored. And Verity provides those various controls in order to define how data should be extracted, for example, or if data needs to be OCR'd, but not necessarily provided with a speech-to-text recognition service. Gaining this understanding over the scope and content of data really empowers the organization then to start to gain more control over this information. To assist with this process, Verity provides a set of policies which can be customized in order to classify the data into various categories. This classification process is fully customizable in order for the organization to truly define the policies that fit their business need. A dedicated set of documents selected from the information archiving solution can be defined as a template for data to be classified into those various buckets, such as business data, financial, and HR or legal. And Verity analyzes those various documents in order to place them into those various categories. So at this point, we've gained enough insights into this information to start to gain additional control over things like the life cycle of this information. To this point, we can then define various retention rules for the various business units or for the various categories of information that we have identified so far. Regardless of where physically the data might have resided, we can logically organize this information in order to start to manage its life cycle. In addition to these powerful capabilities allowing the enterprise to define their workflows and process surrounding this management of the data, Verity also provides a great set of capabilities to provide additional insights over this information. For example, the Sankey diagram showing how the data has been distributed and throughout the its entire life cycle. Additional visual cues are also provided for the end user to truly slice and dice the information and gain all the necessary insights as to what kind of information they are dealing with, volumes and counts of the type of data from the various repository. And again, this information is real time and the access to these analytics is completely interactive and actionable. And for example, here I can define and access how much data comes from a various repository, such as a file system, access the count, and filter in any fashion through this faceted search in order to actually identify, for example, how much of this data is on hold versus data that has not been put on hold. Other visualization capabilities, such as looking at how much data has been processed over time to understand how much volume has been ingested in the system or how much information has been treated over time. What type of data? Is it text or is it image or is it speech? And again, this process is fully interactive and allows the user to zoom in and out of this data in order to truly access the information that's relevant to them. Now, this data is being managed for a reason. There is a point in the organization's cycle where some of this data might need to be surrendered, for example, for litigation reasons to a downstream legal party. Verity offers subscription to a discovery service which assists with this process. Through Verity's user management interface, I can define the roles in my organization that are fit in order to grant access to the early case assessment subscription service. The Verity user management and identity services integrate with the vast majority of directory services such as Active Directory, Azure AD, or generic LDAP platforms. As a subscriber to the Verity Early Case Assessment platform, I can open a case and start to bring in data from those various data sources into this case to start with the process of reviewing and culling of this information in order to identify documents that may be relevant to this given case. And when it comes to this process, the first thing is really to identify what kind of volume we're talking about. And from the get-go, the early case assessment dashboard starts to provide some insights as to what kind of information we're dealing with, what are the volumes, what are the various file types that this case encompasses, providing some tracking information as to how much data so far has been placed into various workbooks so that we can track the progress of the assessment process throughout this full cycle, how much data has been identified as privileged content that might not be handed over versus protected data or relevant information that we might require to put on hold, as well as exporting for further e-discovery. Typically, as part of a case management, various constraints are given when a case is open. One of them would be the list of custodians that are relevant to that given case. In order to additionally assist with identifying potentially parties that could be linked to this case from those various custodians, Verity provides rich analytics such as social graphs, providing means to analyze the social interaction between the various parties, such as how much volume of emails going from one subject to another. And again, this data is fully real-time and is interactive, so that at any point in time, I may decide to place these documents into a folder or put this data on hold. Now, there is a point as part of the early case assessment process where I might be required as well to review the documents individually in order to identify if some documents actually are relevant to the case based on keywords list, or also review the content to identify if anything could be privileged content. Through Verity's content search capabilities, I can query the various contents and identify, for example, documents which may be relevant to the case, such as, for example, this contract sitting on a file share which has been OCR through the Verity data processing and is fully content searchable. Data that is relevant can then be workbooked, placed into those various folders, and the workbooks themselves can be managed. I can access the content of the workbook at any point in time, or put the content on hold, or export these documents to an external party. And this concludes this presentation. Thank you.